initiates for the flame. You are now programmed to drop dem draws. Have you been maintaining your flame?
You underestimated your child.
So your perspective on
You underestimated your child.
So your perspective on energy is the key that makes it negative or positive. If I was a businessman in a room full of heroin, wouldn't that be a negative experience? But if I was a heroin addict in a room full of heroin, oh, isn't it a good day? So you got the same experience and two different perspectives on what's positive and negative. So you got to look at the concept of negative and positive, as I told you from the beginning, as a concept of something your mind agreed to. That's the science. That's the trick. Your agreements in your own mind. The mind is all. So if it's all, you say it's bad, your mind says it's bad. And it will manifest in this reality as negativity or something bad. If you say it's good, it will manifest as good. What's right is what your mind makes right. They told you that in the Matrix. Your mind makes it real.
I thought it wasn't real. Your mind makes it real.
From the civil rights movement, first of all, before the civil rights movement, blacks were doing just fine. We were building our businesses, whatever. This was beating the shit out of white people in the economy. So all that, people always say, oh, Martin Luther King was a government agent. They don't really define what his mission was. His mission was to get you into a civil rights movement. Because once you started flying the flag for this cause, it no longer became about your individual mind. So it takes you from being independent to dependent. And along with that comes the mind state. We all depend on Jesse Jackson. We all depend on Al Sharpton. We all depend on this one or that one. Now Obama, you get what I'm saying? To free us. When the true goal of the black man is an inward journey to cultivate his mind, to be able to step up and really dictate community. You have to go inside. You have to become that light. Not just talk that light, become that light, and then you're going to attract the other motherfuckers who are seeking light. This is about enlightenment. Enlightenment is the power or the energy that you wield like a lightsaber. This universe is a holograph. That means each holograph has a point where there's a projector. Where's the projector? Your whatever you want to call your reality is being projected by you. You're here to create your own reality. You easy, simplistic ways to meditate, because you niggas are pretending that you're deep, but you don't even know that, and I know it. So, as I said many times before, my father taught me how to meditate when I was 8. Philosophy, had his little book game going, the Buddha, the meditative this, the lotus position nigga, and all of this, right? So he was dying to teach us. I was 8 years old. He taught me, my sister, everybody. Of course, they forgot, but one of the things he told us as a kid was think of an apple. Can you see the apple in your head? Yes. Can you feel it in your head? You know how an apple feels. Mm-hmm. And then I would imagine that I was touching this apple. Then he said, bite it and eat it. I imagine I was eating the apple. So I could see it, feel it, taste it, So how does it sound when you're biting into it, cutting it? I can hear it, taste it, feel it. What am I missing? So I got taste it, smell it. Oh, smell it. So how does it smell? What does apple smell like? Yeah, I can smell it. I know what apples smell like. So what I was doing was experiencing the apple with my five senses, which actually your five senses just sends electricity to the brain. So do you need to sense it for that electricity to happen in the same places? No. You want to start experiencing simple things with your mind in detail. Two things are happening. The first thing is you're starting to focus your mind on one object. And what you're really doing is working on the endless chatter that your beta mind is constantly kicking out. Your mind operates when you're aware, or your conscious mind, with beta waves at a beta wave frequency. When you meditate, it slows down to an alpha wave frequency. And that shuts down the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind, which dictates your reality. It's actually taking the instruction. So as you are focusing and shutting down the chatter on something simple that you've had 100 times, touch 8, at least 100 times, even by age 8 crowd, 100 times, like you're starting to focus as a laser point, and your mind is a laser, and what you're trying to do is stay in that moment longer and longer without the chatter. You move to bananas, bicycles, then you start to do things like visualize yourself in places that you've been 100 times. Your bathroom. I have a bathroom here. So in a bathroom, let's say on the main floor, which is pretty much my bathroom. So I just could see myself in my bathroom. I know the floor, I know the rug, I know the shower curtain, where where everything is, what's in the closet. So I see myself in the closet, looking at the detail. I see myself at the water. I see myself in positions that I really can't see, looking down from the ceiling, things that I physically couldn't do, but I could do it from my mind's perspective. I'm exercising my mind into going where I want to go. Ultimately, I'm practicing astral travel. All of this through your meditative practices. So you keep doing this day to day. Do you need to sit in lotus position? I found that you don't. Do you need to do any mudras or any hand gestures? I find that you don't. But if it's comfortable for you, go crazy. If it's comfortable for you, go crazy. If breathing, you definitely need to do some form of slowing down the breath and become conscious of the breath. Now, there's techniques in breath control and counting breaths. I can't count because it makes me too logical. I can zone so hard, but if I start thinking, which counting is thinking, I get it. It's counterintuitive to me. But some folks can do it. Dr. Aleem El-Bey can do it well and teaches it. Dr. Aleem El-Bey.com. Go check him out, see what he offers, see how he's doing things. And he's also a brother who maintain a great deal of integrity, I will say. And so worth checking out if you don't know who Dr. Aleem is. He's been putting out a lot of videos. He's one of the most knowledgeable brothers I've ever met on the planet. And if you don't know who he is, check out Dr. Aleem. He's on YouTube. Go to his website, draleemelbey.com. Not only see what he has to offer in his store, but link to his YouTube and listen to what he's saying. Very good teacher. And he teaches all the techniques for healing with breath. So that's an option. So you do what makes you do good, but just to meditate, you don't have to do that. I never sit in lotus. I sit or lay and get busy. Another thing that I believe is a myth, well, I don't even have to say I believe, I know because I do it, is you need absolute quiet. What you need is something that keeps your mind on one track. So the apple, the banana keeps your mind on one track. The bathroom upstairs, it's easy to stay in that bathroom. I've been in there 100 times. Shit, as much as I shit, I've been in that motherfucker thousands of times. You understand what I'm saying? So then you go to your grandmother's house. Then you start practicing on places you may have never been. Pyramids, Eiffel Tower. And what you're now adding to your scenario is imagination. You already are visualizing things that you already know. So now you're adding imagination. And as I pointed out, imagination and visualization is the key. Now, this was always something that's happening. You should have been doing this as calisthenics, because those push-ups, now you can flex your muscle. You understand? Now it's flex time. Because your mind and the power of your mind is now lined up based upon this phage lambda, or this Beetlejuice given to you by the cosmic wind or the breath of Shu, is now lit and all over the place, and it moves as bacteria.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. We are back in this thing, man. It's the initiates for the flame up in this thing. Get my boy up here. It's the Hood Mystic representing hoodmystic.com, here for another video. We're here to discuss chapter 5, Sense and Sensation of the Mastermind by Theron Q. Dumont. If you want to tap into this PDF, the link is in the description. And do you know what else is in the description? The link to join the Discord, so you can tap in, see all the things we got going, mastermind groups, lunar conversation groups, just a place where people can get together and talk and build. But more on that later. I'm going to have my co-hosts introduce themselves and where you could possibly find them in the internet spaces.
Peace. Salute to the collective. Sacred Serpent, Sacred Dark Serpent, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Flame On Shop. Get your new tropics. Ebook is on the way. I'm very close. Outside of that, I'm really excited about chapter 5. So let's get to it.
Good evening, everybody. This is Breeze. Thank you once again for joining us this evening, and join the Discord. My my Instagram handle is at the bottom left of my picture.
Type shit.
Or video.
Peace of the tribe. Welcome to tonight. Be ready for tonight's masterminds group. We got always some fire things prepared. So we'll step into that flame and lock in. And you already know where you can find me at AD_Senpai33, AD_Senpai33, AD_Senpai33. 3 times have a ring to it. That's Saturday.
Yes, sir. Before we get into the conversation, it's a couple of things, a couple of business propositions we want to present to you. Of course, flameon.shop. Flameon.shop. Get your number one. This is your number one place, rather, for nootropics, supplements, things of that nature. Supporting this channel, supporting the guys, supporting everybody involved, and then also supporting yourself by tapping into these Flame On supplements where they have the ashwagandha, maca root, tongkat ali, lion's mane. AD, you was telling me something about you could tell the people more or less the revelation or the opening you got to, people getting exposed to the Flame On supplements and why they should, tap into it. Because the things that tell them what you do and then tell them why Flame On supplements work for you and also work for other people. Because not to put your business out there, what place did you finish in the tournament this weekend?
First place. Yeah, it was a
You
submission.
think those flame on pills have anything to do with it? I'm just asking. Wonder.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you, because I took them before, really, and I got up early, and I feel like I was actually talking about it to my friends, because my friends always get on me like they like, you got your supplements with you. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, did you subscribe to the email list yet? You know what I'm saying? So letting them know, and within that, one of the coaches, he was interested about it, and we talked, and now I got it set up where people can see it inside the dojo and check it out. You know what I'm saying? I got a bottle on site for them. So it's just really what I use it for, especially like I'm an athlete. I always need an extra push. I need something to always help me keep me up. So the Tonga Ali and the Lion's Mane helps me focus. You know what I'm saying? While the ashwagandha helps you with the relaxation and the stress relief. So with these benefits, it just helps me. But I would come across a lot of people who have a hard time staying up and talk about how they always dealing with focus issues. So I introduced them to Flame On pill because that's something I use for that. Especially being young and always getting distracted, I always use supplements to help me stay focused, especially herbs.
And on the low, shameless plug, if you need a little bit of an extra kick in the bedroom, Flame On is your spot. I'm just saying.
Just keeping it a buck, man. You already know about that black maca root, that ashwagandha have you feeling like a man.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, testosterone, about that, man. You need it.
Yeah, we're talking about girth. Pause. Girth.
Yeah, you gotta pause that, big brother. You gotta pause that. Well, the link is in the description, famo. If y'all want to tap in, support these brothers as they entrepreneurial in their entrepreneurial adventure, but at the same time, help yourself, do your research, and tap in. They're on sale right now, so you could get them for $40, but they on sale for $23. There's other pills such as Flame On Lion's Mane, Flame Out, Flame Root, Flame Up with Strong at Ali, and then the flagship product, which is the Flame On pill. Support people by supporting yourself. This is how we tap in. This is what I've done for years, by providing value to the community, but also providing value to themselves, because no scams and no fucking. But with all of that being said, like I said it earlier, we want to talk about community in reference to the year of community. This is the year of Saturn. It's an 8-year. And Saturn is in sidereal Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by the 11th house. The 11th house is community. So when we reference the Discord and we reference these videos, when we reference ourselves as a collective, Initiates for the Flame, we're referencing Saturn and Aquarius because this whole initiative has started this year while Saturn was in Aquarius. So I will hope the panel and, of course, the chat give some feedback or any type of commentary on how this year has moved you into relating differently to the collective, more or less. We probably talked about doing something for a long time, but actually putting it together, being consistent. This is week 5, but we also did videos before this, but just really being consistent, showing up every Sunday, talking about these books. This is some Saturn and Aquarius type stuff. So what does that look like for you guys in real life? And I know, AD, you wanted to bring this up. I know you have a clear and succinct example of how it showed up for you.
Yeah, really just being in the community, and also with that Saturn, we always gonna have the restrictions and things gonna take our time. But like, I think that's a good thing, when we just jump into stuff and not having a plan or intention or purpose, and just meeting people and not bringing value to them or ourselves, which is bringing a self a disservice. But being in the community and really trying to establish, a name, or even not in the name, if you're not trying to focus on that type of stuff, just trying to be a part of your community and knowing people. Because really, if you find people, get to know them, you share your mission, and you guys have a common mission, you're gonna do the work. And even in what Panic was talking about, you have to build your light up and you're going to attract more people doing that work with you. So that's where I've just been in, meeting people that's helped me on a mission with attorneys, meeting people that's want to, work and do the study, astrology, spiritual work. So it's been a real nice thing to do the work. Like that's the part about the Saturn and Aquarius, to get your community. You have to do the work for it, to meet the people. Ain't nobody gonna want no person that ain't doing shit. Just saying. How about y'all?
Yeah, I feel like doing something where the end result is providing some type of value for a community is a great way to redirect your energy. Sometimes you may deal with frustration, or maybe mad at something, or you might just be real lustful about something. I think the opposite of like anger and lust and me is everybody else. Because I think once you get tunnel vision about yourself in an unhealthy way, you take away from your capacity to serve and give to others and do things, for others that may be needed. So that's one thing I try to do. I just try to redirect my energy so that I can, how can I help people, instead of thinking about myself all the time. That's what I would say. And then I think it's cool. Saturn is trine the sun, so you got that trine from Libra to Aquarius. So it's figuring out to go from, what I got going on personally to what the collective got going on, and that's how how I relate to the collective, if that's making sense.
Yeah. To piggyback off that, it reminds me of like remembering some like why you even dealt with a person and trying to deal with that aspect, because when you meet people, you kind of go further into the realm of the relationship. Saturn and Aquarius, where the sun in Libra is like, what was the story behind even dealing with this person in the first place, and maybe that could be recovered, just business or personal, whatever, but like dealing with the inception of your desire to connect with others. Where did that come from? And then where are you at today? Where Saturn will put in some limits and boundaries that, our mind might not have.
I noticed that anything that I set out for myself to do this year, almost all of it has come to fruition, but it has only flowed properly when I've made myself available. And so what I mean by that is, I operate by the model that the best ability is availability to start. So like, I try to make it my point to be available to my team, to my squad, and whatever it is that we set out to do, whatever goals we have for the collective and for us as a group, like I put those things front and center, and then I flow myself off of that, right? So like, if there's any projects that need to get done, if there's anything that's coming up that we need to crunch for a deadline, whatever it is, I want to make sure that my team knows that I'm available to handle whatever it is that they need to delegate in some other form or fashion. So I think, again, like I said, the best ability is availability, and my whole objective is to be available to my squad, and my stuff takes care of itself off of that.
Indeed, man. You need somebody that's like real on your squad, because you don't ever know when you got to be held accountable, or when you slipping, or when you tripping, and you need some accountability on this journey, because people say the mind is all, which is true, but it also have you looking crazy when you're not on a particular path. A path is specific, direct, but also ultimately we should be able to have a conversation in reference to the path and in reference to being direct and coming together as one, as opposed to having 50 people with 50 different outlooks. And at the end of the day, we go nowhere. So Saturn and Aquarius is like, let's make this shit right, as opposed to just coming together. But I feel like we're on the right path. You know, consistency is key, and you never know what it's going to look like week 100. You know what I'm saying? It's going to look way different when you compare week 100 to week 5. So with that being said, let's segue into chapter 5, the mastermind. If you want to tap into the PDF, the link is in the description. Y'all can keep up with us every Sunday. We're going over a chapter of this book, The Mastermind. Hence, we started a mastermind. Let's deal with a book that's dealing with the subject. And one of the first, well, what we're going to talk about today, you can catch up with our previous videos. Just look on my feed, look at videos. They're labeled which videos is the mastermind videos every Sunday. But with all this being said, we're talking about cultivating the sensory mind, right? Being a master at understanding our senses. And at first, this is a difficult subject to wrap your mind around. So it requires reading this a couple of times to grasp it and understand it. That's why I added the Panic videos, because Panic talks a lot about this in his lectures vicariously, but this is how I kind of grounded it and it made sense. But hopefully we can do the same for you. So after we go through these slides, I'll open it up to the panel and also open it up to the chat to, you know, feel free to add your 2 cents in, how this message resonates with you. Go ahead and like the video if you haven't. Put a 1 in the chat. If you're watching this video post live, comment some things that you took from this video. It all helps the algorithm. It all lets YouTube know that you guys like these videos, and they'll share it to more people. We'll grow the brand. We'll grow as a unit. We'll grow this. We'll grow the well, of course, grow the Substacks, but grow the Discord. And the most important thing, though, is for you to join the Discord. Keep the conversation going outside of these YouTube videos, and also build community. So, with all that being said, the mastermind, cultivating sensory mastery, from Theron Q. Dumont's The Mastermind, explores the power of sensory cultivation. This chapter emphasizes developing and controlling our senses to achieve mental mastery. So, whenever you're trying to build, whenever you're trying to understand how to take your consciousness or your meditation to the next level, you have to deal with the foundation. And so Theron Q. Dumont, he explains the foundation of consciousness through raw materials, sensory input, the basic things that you listen to with TV shows, with music, with movies, your house, your family. All this is input for the foundation of your consciousness. Another way that you can like understand this is when you start listening to guided meditations, start listening to Abraham Hicks, that's going to change the raw materials that you input into your consciousness. Part 2, quality information. Redefine sensory perception ensures high quality input. So I remember it was this young lady, she used to listen to these Tybro tapes. And if you don't know what Tybro is, go on that website, tybro.com. The man got meditations on there for $10,000. You know, just the audio that people will meditate to, spend $10,000 on this meditation. Well, for her, her foundation of consciousness was to get high quality information to meditate on. Some people are into that, but I'm just using that as an example, as this creates a solid foundation for advanced mental processes. So with those 2 things, right? In what area would y'all guys help the collective in sourcing out quality information and raw materials for y'all foundation of consciousness? Like, what are the things that you tapped into to open you up to a higher level of meditation?
Libra null in the psychonaut.
That was my first joint. I'm never gonna lie to you.
Yeah, for me, it's this book called Celebration of Breath by a woman named Sandra Ray, and it just talks about like conscious breathing. And then it's another book by John Hooks called Rainbow Body Breathing or something like that. And it just talk about like how conscious breathing can help you get to a state of to an altered state of consciousness. You know, once you slow your breathing down, and then they talk about like something called rebirthing, where you could get into a rhythm of breathing to where like you literally are dealing with like birth trauma at this point. It's by John Hooks, but it's spelled JAHN HOOK. Yes, yeah, that one. Those two books were really instrumental in helping me like get deeper into my meditations. And now it's like I don't meditate without just like doing a connected breath. And a connected breath is literally like you're actively inhaling through your nose, and then you're allowing gravity to exhale for you. So it's literally just where you breathing in, and then all you're doing is breathing in, and then you can almost look at it like you allowing spirit to exhale for you. And you just keep doing it, and it'll help you relax, it'll help you focus. And then also, I forget which Mantak Chia book it is, but just look him up. He got a lot of books about circulating your energy. But through like conscious breathing.
Cultivate in the Tao or this one right here?
I think it might have been that. Yeah.
This the one, right?
Energy through Tao, yeah. So like those three books from conscious connected breathing and having focus on different areas of your body, it helped me get into a deeper meditation. And just to like to interact with my organs and really understand like, damn, I got a diaphragm, I got lungs, my liver is over here, my kidneys over here, and like Chinese medicine, and just understanding that really helped me fall into like a state of peace and be able to get even deeper in my meditation.
Yeah, I would second all of that. Anything from Mantak Chia, to be quite honest. First, I would say, for me, it was Doctrine and Ritual by Levias Levy, High Magic. Then it was Knowledge of the Higher Worlds by Rudolf Steiner. And then
what was that first one, Serpent?
The first one is High Magic by Levias Levy, Doctrine and Ritual. Yep. Yeah, that one. And then Rudolf Steiner's Knowledge of the Higher Worlds.
How did these books help you? I'm gonna put them in the links.
Knowledge of the Higher Worlds helped me understand the combination between astronomy, astrology, and the chakras, how they correlated to the planets, how it all made sense in connecting with Kabbalah. The High Ritual, High Magic book by Levi, it essentially broke down the comparison between the Egyptian temples and the human body. There is a correlation there. The temples were built in the exact compartmentalization of what the components of a human body is. So the top of the temple was considered to be the crown, the bottom of the temple was considered to be the feet, so forth and so on. And then Liber Null and the Psychonaut of course, that basically taught me how to reprogram my mind, reprogram my consciousness. It helped me get rid of the dogmas and, essentially the program that we're all born into. And it allowed me to understand that, I can recreate the program and live amongst my own kind of program, whatever program I choose fit. So I think all three of those books work. If I had to pick one, off the top of my head, I would probably stick with Lieber Null and the Psychonaut, but then Rudolf Steiner would be real close second. But all three work, like as far as taking your mind and your consciousness from what you think you know into the realms of the impossible, so to speak.
For me, man, of course, when I really tapped into microdosing, and the book for me was called The Food of the Gods. When we had got into that, that really opened my mind about a lot of things, known as like coffee, teas, and then really, and then that's pretty much it. Like for me, just microdosing, tapping into Terrence McKenna himself. So really understanding that
You
perspective.
ever listen to Kalindi IE? You ever listen to any of his videos?
Kalindi IE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you like Terrence McKenna, because Terrence McKenna, God bless his soul, you know what I'm saying? Got that little white boy thing going on, but Kalindi IE is like this on the same level, but he able to go deeper into. Because I know once you tap into him, you're going to just be like, you're going to binge this name. You're going to binge him. So, tap into Kalindi IE too, because if you like Terrence McKenna,
once you start, you won't stop.
Yeah, you're going to be like them.
That's crazy.
Last one, Mushroom and the Sacred Cross.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love listening to that on the way.
I was one. Did Terrence McKenna come from the Alan Watts school?
I'm not sure.
They got a lot.
I feel like it's the other way around.
They got a lot of comparisons. Well, Alan Watts is older.
Okay.
They sound alike, and you know what I'm saying? Like it is like a relationship, but I never heard them mention each other. Yeah. But they got the same space in YouTube where they got a bunch of lectures that you could just like tap into.
Alan Watts is dope. I listen to Alan Watts meditation while I'm sleeping and shit. This shit is dope.
We'll tap you in. So we laid all of this stuff out. We put like 10 books in the chat in reference to building a foundation. What you heard was brothers not just saying they watched a YouTube video, nothing wrong with a YouTube video, but they actually did the work in their free time and spare time to develop this foundation of meditation and connecting that meditation to your thoughts, to your breathing, and to your consciousness. What does this do? Well, it allows you to critically think. And what is that? Accurate sensory data will enable you to think better, which will allow you to have better, precise analysis and decision making. So this helps you in relationships. This helps you financially. You win your own little bubble in your own little world, but enable to thrive in this, you have to develop a mode of critical thinking. So in chapter 5, he goes into explaining the ego and how it more or less controls our ability to meditate or not. So if you're not aware of how your ego is controlling you to pull you away from your meditation, then you won't never even think to meditate. One's in the chat, when your ego isn't in control, do you meditate? No, you trying to, enjoy life. But in order to deal with the spiritual side or that mastermind, you have to relinquish some of the ego's control. How does the ego control you? It controls you through senses. The first is perception. If you look up the etymology of sense, it's basically saying that your sense is your ability to perceive. So senses just tell you if something is good or something is bad. How else does the ego control you? by focusing on specific stimuli. So once the brothers started focusing on Libernal and the Psychonaut, that allowed you to think differently because you was focusing on something differently. Even to this day, if you focus on the financial markets, you will learn more about the financial markets. If you focus more on meditation, you will learn more in meditation. But the key is the ego in control, or are you doing things to connect to your spiritual side? Finally, after you perceive correctly and you have the right focus, how do you master this focus over time? As they say, practice makes perfect. So, in the mode of you guys' meditation practice or spiritual development, how important has repetition been for you to relinquish the ego's control over your spiritual development? And I want to add in another question: do you feel when the ego is infiltrating in between you and source creation?
Well, with the ego, what I notice is that if the way I know if the ego is in charge is if I ask the question whether I really feel like doing a particular thing. Whenever I get to a point of asking myself if I feel like doing something, then I know the ego is the one asking that question. Um, but the repetition through meditation and the consistency of it, and being persistent within it, it allows for one to let go of the concept of, am I doing something right? Should I be doing this? Do I feel like doing it? Does it matter if I do it? All of those things only come up when the ego is inserting itself, and the ego is the overseer, so to speak. So like the more reps that I get, the more consistent I am with those reps, and the more proactive I am in getting those reps in order for me to stay consistent and to keep everything balanced. That act and those acts alone together, like they alleviate the pressure of feeling the need of asking those questions. Those questions never come up when I'm stoked in the repetition of it. And in the front of my mind, as well as in the back of my mind, purpose is what's driving me. So whenever purpose is not in the forefront, whenever purpose just took a break for a second, like then I know that the ego is in charge and I need to check myself. So the ego plays as like this filter. And like whenever I allow the ego to ask the questions, that lets me know that the ego is in charge. What was the second question, big bro?
You answered the second question. I was just more or less saying, have you ever, like, in reference to mastering and having a level of understanding of your spiritual development, how has repetition been an assistance in your spiritual process, or do you like just be random about it? Like, was you meditating amazingly the first time you did it, or
No.
did it allow you? Did you have to implore some repetition to get you to a higher level in your practice?
Yeah, the intent that I set going in is zero intent. So like when I say zero intent is that I'm not looking for a particular expectation once this meditation is over. So the idea is just to ground myself in the reps of it, back straight, head facing forward, continuous but steady breathing, and at the same time focusing on the 0 point, a nothing point. Sometimes I start with an apple, sometimes I might start with a lemon. Once I get to a sensory point of contemplating the smell of whatever it is that I'm using as a totem at that particular point for that meditation, then I can space myself out from there. But if I go into it thinking about what I expect to get from it, or I'm wanting to get a particular thing from, or I need something, so I'm going to sit my ass down and meditate. That's when meditation doesn't work. You know, it's never about the ending. It's about the process of it. So I always focus in on just the process of it.
Ashe. Yeah, no, real talk. I'm happy you pulled that up, but that's what we got into earlier too. And just with anything that you do, you know, you feel like the work, you know, like you do. Sometimes you do all this stuff, and you just wonder like what's going to come out of it. Like I feel like I'm supposed to see something. I feel like I'm supposed to do something, and it's all about the action and work, you know, because really that's what we get into that type of words of karma and dharma. But like really when you focus on your action and work at hand, that's really your reward. That's something like I'm understanding like the work is my reward. Can no one take that away from me? Can no one deny that? People might not like you. You know, you might be in a field where people feel like the way you do it is not all that, but at the end of the day, your work talks for you. That's when you, and as a young man, when you learn how to embody that, you're gonna have respect of all types of people because they're gonna respect you for your work, especially how you carry yourself. So like that's something I've been learning from my meditations and for my work because, you know, at first I was just like, it was cool and fun using imagination, but sometimes I used to wonder like, you know, what am I getting out of it? I had to just do more learning and more studying to understand the purpose of the action, to use it to build intention and reason.
Ashe.
Through repetition, through the things that we're talking about, I've been able to perceive more than just my surroundings. I was able to perceive more of my inner world. And it kind of took away the need. So basically, I know when the ego is stepping in when I'm favoring more of the outside world, you know, whether, you know, I'm always laid up trying to, you know, fill up on my on my woman and stuff, or, you know, I'm like, oh man, I want a slice of cheesecake. And those things are fine, you know, but when I find myself wanting it in excess, for the most part, a lot of times I'm not meditating consistently. And so, you know, just knowing when I'm doing that, it helps me pivot. And it is sometimes difficult to get back into that state once you're, you know, for lack of better words, just enjoying life, you know, just enjoying your senses, your favorite TV show, your favorite food, having sex, you know, these things, there's nothing wrong with these things. It's just when you do it in excess, it's real easy to be pulled out of your spiritual practices. But I would say, you know, challenge yourself to perceive your inner world more, you know, and then from there being able to really build it up. Because I think that's why meditation is so hard. We just don't do it enough, you know, we don't do it enough. And then most of us haven't started until we actually got into our late teens, early 20s. So you think, you know, we've been living a life as a child, you know, just, you know, living in our senses, you know what I mean? Not trying to get a whooping, trying to, you know, do whatever, you know, whatever it is. It was all about this. It was all about the senses. It's all about the outside world. And so I say that to say, give yourself grace, you know, wait until you like, I don't know, 50 to see how you really got it balanced, you know, because we got to remember we spent a long time of our lives as children not knowing things, you know, and only until, in my opinion, until I got to like 30, that I feel like, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of it. I actually feel like an adult. So I would say that, you know, usually when I'm meditating less and enjoying cheesecake, sex, and my favorite TV shows when the ego stepping in.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, anything that's pleasing to the senses is what the ego wants.
Mhm.
That's what the ego wants, and you just gotta just kind of have like a I don't want to keep like talking about it, but I think you just need a line of defense per se, or just a way of handling it. You're like, okay, I'm doing this a lot. How can I pull myself back? You know,
Mhm.
sometimes fasting is a good way to do it. Um,
Being aware too. Like
yeah,
sometimes you're not even aware that you even doing it.
that's a big key too. That's a
There's a
big key as
switch.
well.
There's a
And it,
switch.
and then because you don't want it to, because when you're not aware of it, then that's when you end up doing too much, you know, and something happened in life where he's like, damn, man, what was I thinking? And then you go find God again, you fucked up, but I digress.
Bar.
I think you gotta definitely get there before you feel the need to find God. Like
Yeah.
once you get to that point, it's like essentially over. Like you need to just restart like everything.
Yeah.
I think also like you have to understand that there's a switch that you can flip from the observer to observing. You know what I mean? Like you can either be the participant or the observer, right? So the participant is paying attention to how you feel, what you're thinking, what's on your mind, what bills you ain't paid, blah blah blah. But the observer is monitoring all of that, right? So going in as the observer might be a little cheat code for some people.
Mhm. That's a cheat code for us all. If you can observe how you feeling, it's hard for you to feel something that you observe, right? But if you feel it and you just need this cheesecake, if you just observe yourself like, damn, this fat ass nigga want a cheesecake. It's a shame. You know what I'm saying? Like you just observe yourself being goofy. Like I just see myself just being a goofball, and I'm like, okay, like I've been just really fasting for like the past week, like strong. And it's like, all right, by week 7, I just remember how much of a bitch I was at week 2. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Ooh,
was so weak at the beginning of it, but the longer you do it, it's like, why haven't I just fasted for my whole life? You know what I mean? Why
Yeah.
do I need to just eat all of this shit for? It's like I look better, I feel better, more energy, clear mind, all of these types of things. But it's like repetition. I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. But at a certain point, I get better with the effort. So, in reference to the mastermind, I want us to kind of center back into what we ultimately want. And then ultimately, how do we get it in reference to the ego? Because the ego is going to say, I want a cheesecake. I want to lay up. I want to go to the movies. I want to go to the store. I want to watch TV. But in your heart, you might say, I need 100K real bad. You know what I mean? So at a certain
we.
point, how do you deal with establishing a mastermind and having the focus? I'm gonna add something to this because it's something that's been working for me. I've been doing journal work on growing up, reliving situations, once again, with no desire to sort nothing out. Just looking at it and the freeing up of the energy in my subconscious mind brings me to the ability to where, as of right now, I'm back to studying the charts every day. And I know that the thing that brought me to this is realizing that I was operating on my grow up program. So, in reference to what I just said and what I'm about to say, in the book, it goes to you have to master your senses because if you don't master your senses, you will be distracted because there are too many things on the external world to pull you away from One, what you truly want in your mastermind. So Theron Q. Demont, he explains that filtering your distractions will develop the ability to filter out distractions, and this skill allows for better concentration and mental clarity. If you want a how-to, the link is in the description with the PDF that you can tap into and read for yourself. We're pulling from chapter 5. Secondly, aligning mental processes. Selective focus helps align thoughts with desired goals. So, in reference to, because we just using this as a base, not to pick on you, but in reference to the cheesecake, in reference to the sex, what does that have to do ultimately with your desired goals? If you're a sicko like me, you would say, yeah, this cheesecake is actually going to help me reach the 100K because it's going to be a recipe that I'm going to pull out of it, make my own cheesecake, and be like, yeah, boy, stop it with it. You just want some cheesecake and you want some bullshit. So if you anything like me, you got to deal with your rationalities and what you're actually doing. Secondly, when you align your mental processes, like I'm really trying to figure out how to make 100K. And it's like, how can I do that for real outside of, trading? I'm not saying that I just started trading. I've been trading for years. I stepped away from it for whatever reason because I've realized that I wasn't on the right train to even get to where I want to get to mentally. I've read psychology books. I did a lot of work. So now it's like, all right, let me align what I'm doing with how I'm thinking. So, if I'm keep it all real, if I'm just trying to sell herbs, it might take me a year to make 100K. But if I'm serious about this currency trading, learning more about stocks, things of that nature, and get good at it, that to me, if I do it right, will be my way to get into my financial goals. However, if I'm not focused on it, it won't happen. So in previous times, I was fucking around with this shit, could have made a lot of money, but I had other shit going on in my life. So if you want to get some tools, you want to get some different things, because I'm telling you, this book has been helping me improve my fucking life. So at a certain point, it's a free PDF in the description if you want to look at some ways to help you with these filtering distraction, aligning your mental process, developing enhanced concentration. Read the book, go through the book, but open it up to the panel. Have you ever been in a space where you focused on something and brought it to manifestation, but you've chosen to focus on it?
Of course.
Like from a spiritual point of view.
Yeah, you know how earlier we was talking about with the meditating and focusing on imagery, right? And my Mars is in like the 12th house. So it's just like, my imagery on a deep level, I could just see myself doing a lot of physical movement. See myself walking to certain rooms, walking to my goals. So it's just like seeing myself doing that now and focus on it heavy by learning certain things instead of just always having the action and moving to flow. It's more of I really learned from gnosis and then learn from experience, right? Gnosis is the inner level and the experience is like knowledge, the outer world, learning things on this plane. It's like having that balance, but really tapping into gnosis is going to help you get through the illusion, the glamour, and really dealing with your ego. Because as Hood said, them journaling prompts and the journaling is really key. Because I remember having a conversation with someone and we was talking about, is it possible to go to sleep with the same thought and wake up in the morning thinking about it again? And I said yes. And I didn't say that because I knew this information or I studied something. It's because I was journaling, I focused, I went to sleep on it, I woke up, and I was ready to go. I was locked in because I remember what I went to sleep about, dreamt about it too. So it's like I knew that from an inner level. So that's my explanation experience to tell with the chat. to like really like tap into ego?
Yeah, I would say, and I like that, AD, you know, because that really made me think about what I'm about to say. When I was still in college, we used to have days where we was pulling all nighters, and basically we was at school on campus till like midnight working on shit. And they were like really big problems, like big projects, to where like my senior year we had exams and it was just one question. um, but
And that was the exam, just one big ass
yeah,
question.
just one big ass question. It had multiple parts, but it was one
Uh-huh.
question.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember some days just going to sleep, going home, just going to sleep, and then waking up like, oh, I need to check, check these variables that I set. Did I check the correct variables? Or maybe I should ask the professor this question, because a lot of times if you ask the right question, you'll get the answer you're seeking. Sometimes we don't know what to ask. But I would say like sleeping on it, can really help you solve that problem. It's almost like you asking spirit to help you with it. Or at least guide you to be on the right track towards that answer.
I like how you said that, bro. Like to be able to ask the right questions, you have to be coming from an inner sound centered place, right? You just can't be trying to ask all these questions from ego, because when you really dwell in the spirit, you gonna know what to ask. And it's like, the saying, the master appears when the student is ready.
Yup.
That's how your questions gonna come, just when you sit in the dwelling with spirit.
I heard another quote like that: the master will appear when called upon sincere.
So we are really
You breaking up, Serpent.
You breaking up, Birdie.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We are many universes within the major universe. So the thing that I think is fascinating to me, has been fascinating to me on my spiritual journey, is knowing that, like Breeze said, you ask the right questions. Not only does the universe provide the answer for you, but the universe is actually working for you to receive that particular thing, if you know exactly what it is that you want. So like, I'll just say, just for last year, what I wanted was, I on a small level, I wanted one of the Beckys on this job. I got her. I did not mean to make it a major thing, but I did get her. On another level, I foresaw this panel. Like, I foresaw a panel of 4 spiritual brothers, like just spiritual brothers. I didn't know it was going to be 4, but I foresaw a panel of guys that came together in a collective to start something that was bigger than themselves, and that manifested. And also, I foresaw the entrepreneurial spirit that I had within me that I never brought to fruition. That also manifested itself this year. So I could say that almost everything that I thought about 9-10 months ago when we planted these seeds has come to fruition. And the only consistent thought that I had this whole entire time throughout the process was just keep working. Like, it was never do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're gonna get your thing on Friday. Like, no, it was never any of that. It was just about continuously working, getting the reps in with these brothers, and being available. So like, that's what I think, that's what I had for this year, and that's to answer your question about manifesting into reality.
I got a video that I want to play. It's like 1 minute. It's loading up right now. I'm about to play it though. Processing.
This has to be one of the most bizarre but brilliant mindset tricks I have ever experienced. You can train your mind to solve problems for you while you sleep. Thomas Edison, the famous inventor, every night before he went to bed, he would look at what he was working on in his laboratory, and he would literally write down and say out loud, "Subconscious mind, while I sleep tonight, I want you to solve these 5 problems for me and tell me the answers when I wake up." Guess what? Thomas Edison woke up the next day. His mind had been going to work and solving problems in his sleep. It's not hocus pocus, it's just how your mind works. The subconscious mind runs 95% of all your thoughts and feelings all the time below the surface of your conscious awareness. That's your opportunity. Make a request of your unconscious mind. Whatever problem you're working on, write it down, say it aloud, and ask your unconscious mind to solve the problems while you.
Ashe, I didn't even know you was gonna play that video. I also want to say you can also do this once you get into a deep meditation, and you can ask questions. Just
You're talking about theta, right?
I don't know the brain state, but you know when you're in a deep state of consciousness, when you're meditating, whether you're staring into a flame, and asking those questions, or even asking a question before you meditate and just focusing on that question, or continuously asking it, like chanting it to yourself. That's another way as well. But I just think that shit's so dope, man. Like, that's just so dope to me. It's almost like another indication of like the ego doing the most is when like you trying to make everything happen on your own. When you just like trying to just do everything on your own. Sometimes, and the beauty of meditation is that it's an active thing, but a large part of it is very passive. You're allowing answers to come to you. You're allowing source to give you ideas. You're allowing your intuition to inspire you and things like that. The active part is just being there, and then video. God just take everything, take control of everything. But I just think that shit's so cool, man. Subconscious mind is so cool, dog.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
But working with it though is the key. Like, because if you have a bad day and you don't journal about solving a problem or whatever the case may be, you just fixated on whatever is happening. Even in reference to that bad day, you could journal to your subconscious mind to say, all right, let's solve this problem. Let's work towards this problem. And like I said, it's been a while that I've been sitting on problems or sitting on issues. I mean, my whole life since I was a child, really. So it's like really getting to the root of those things through journaling. Or just working with your subconscious mind through journaling is just so amazing when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's the theta waves that makes your brain the theta phase is where you're the most adjustable.
Okay.
So alpha is the relaxed wakefulness and delta is the deep sleep. And what I think is also fascinating is that Panic used to say this all the time. He's like, the subconscious mind is like the movie theater screen that never turns off. And the conscious mind is just like that front rear view mirror to your car and shit. Like it's only accountable for but so much, but the subconscious mind is keeping everything running at the same time, and at the same time protecting you from the shit that you deem unworthy or negative or traumatic. So like, I think that's why I had gotten to that concept of playing lectures and listening to certain speakers while I go to sleep, because I would wake up the next day and like the lecture would be in my mind, bro. Like I'd have words a part of my vocabulary that I haven't even looked up, but I understood them when I heard them. So like, the fascinating part about that transducer in your head, that brain, is that ultimately it's a conductor. You know what I'm saying? And you could either be, again, the observer of that conductor, or you could be within that conductive point and you know, be subjective to whatever it is that's going on through all of the different changes and whatnot. But I love the idea of your brain being so highly suggestible in one state that it can give you answers on the other side. Like, that shit is dope to me.
I like how you said about the subconscious mind being the movie theater, like the never ending real. And it's like, you know, when we think about when they talk about like things of time travel and stuff, and you know how in the movies they'll show you how it's all the multiple doors, and or you see like a whole flash of memories and things. You know, I always seen it as them explaining how the subconscious mind works when you tap into it. You know, from a dream perspective of lucidity, or you know, really meditating. Today when I was training, my phone alarm was going off, and it was like somebody's phone ringing, and I said, "Oh, I think it's mine is alarm." They said, "What you got alarm at 10 o'clock for?" I go, "Oh, I do reality checks." So I will look at my hands, count my fingers to see if I'm dreaming or not, and that helped me build lucidity to activate lucid dreaming. You know, they was like, "Damn, for real?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You can even, you know, your wallet, grab your wallet, put a note inside your wallet, set an alarm. Every time your alarm go off, go inside your wallet. If you can read that note, then you know you're not dreaming. But if you can't read that note, then you're in the dream world." You know what I'm saying? So that's how you can build tricks and find things your own way. You can have your favorite book, always keep it on you, open it up, read a page. So that's the way we can create our environment and have an expanded perception with mastery over it. It's by creating a system. And new environments help create better habits. So if we can use our habits in certain environments, you know, that's how we can change them and develop them. Like if your room is set up a certain way, that's how you can access certain habits. Go into a living room and do this, basement, or go to a cafe and work.
Because if you don't have that connection, you can go into different environments and have sensory overload. So if you go to a new place that you've never been and you're not aware of self, it's almost like you're just looking around, like, you know what I'm saying?
You'd be super overwhelmed.
Yeah, you lack awareness. So learning how to be aware, you'll actually change the environments from within. But we have a lot of power in reference to our psychic nature. Even when you're going through negative times, it's more or less an indication of your psychic power, but it don't feel like it, because when you enter into expanded states, you also have expanded variations of negativity, that the same ways for which you unlocked the lower levels, you reach a higher level and you're not even at the highest level. You're just at a higher level and you may have to do more unlocking. So that's why I'm just reiterating journaling in reference to growing up, or journaling in reference to situations that you just still not okay with, or you still haven't got the proper understanding. Even if mentally it makes sense to you, journal those thoughts, because that person, that child that experienced that, they're not that advanced mentally. So this is also shadow. When you're triggered, you're going to be back to that place mentally that you never checked on, in reference to being a spiritual being, but now going back to heal that younger version of you that was hurt negatively through trauma, adults, children, circumstances. Like really doing that work, it expands how you look at the world. Because in reference to, I think it's Colin Tipping, he has a book called Radical Forgiveness, where you don't know that you can change the past until you do it. You can change the past, right? And there's like, well, I've been through so much. Did you really?
Yeah.
Or is that what you're telling yourself?
Yeah, that's a key point to hone in on, because that's the issue with believing your five senses, right? Because your five senses are ultimately connected to your ego. And most of the time they are distorted based off of feelings and emotions and intentions. So if all of those things are with occurring at the same time, you're worrying about an outcome, you're worrying about how you feel about something, and you're thinking about how it's going. Like, your senses are going to lie to you, because those things will be placed around the areas that your traumatic experiences come from. And if you have traumatic experiences, or you just might be particularly lazy for that moment or something, then your ego and your senses are going to lie to you. They're not going to tell you the truth. So I think that's key to what you just said, big bro.
Really, just no question on this slide. Just really opening it up for, do you feel the ability, or do you feel life outside of standard five sense perception through the modality? Because, and for the average person to get to this level in the book, Sense and Sensation, like, this is the point. Like, the fifth chapter is kind of where it separates from information to practice. So that's why I said it gets a little difficult, especially when you're talking to people where they just been reading, watching YouTube videos. But when it comes to, like, do you meditate? Have you ever lucid dream? Have you ever astro travel? Have you done these things? Are you finding it capable to understand your spirit world or your dream world and things of that nature? Do you understand when spirit is talking to you? Things of that nature. It's never that, right? It's always, I just like the information, or I love your videos, or you look good, or, that video was good, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, did you expand your perception, right? And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure that, the people that I'm talking to have expanded their sense awareness, but just kind of elaborate or elucidate what that looks like and feels like to you in real life, to the audience who, may have never even thought to go outside of their five senses.
I believe that you can expand your perception to the point where you can do anything that you see in a Marvel movie. I believe that you can expand your perception to the point where you can walk through a wall. Now, I ain't got there yet. But I think it's just expanding your perception of the non-physical world is how you're able to do, like, physical miracles, for lack of better words. Because if you can't think of it, it's not possible, right? But if you can think of it, if you can create some type of, this is how it would happen in your head, then it makes it real. And I know a lot of times we talk about, visualizing ourselves in that car, visualizing ourselves with that job, or that type of, above a live Benz with two Tata-licious, But I mean, I would say that you can visualize yourself talking to ancestors, that was walking the earth 2,000 years ago. Why can't you? But it's all about expanding your perception of the non-physical. You may even be able to heal yourself of sicknesses non-physically, because they always say the physical is the shadow of the non-physical, of the spirit world. And the physical world is the end result of whatever is happening spiritually. So think about yourself being able to just completely just be in the spiritual world with everything that you do, and everything in the physical would align, and it makes me also think of, like, how earlier in my spiritual journey, how ignorant I was of like the non-physical aspect of my existence, you know, because you kind of just feel like, oh, it's just shit just happening by chance. But I think once you really build a non-physical understanding of yourself, understanding the reality, then you can start doing shit, you know, that you just dismiss as just magic, or that person just gifted, or, you know, I think it's just something that we forgot about, you know, and we don't do as much. That's why it just seems impossible or hard, or, you know, people don't even speak about it. Because I really think that's all there is your perception. When you think about God got the ultimate perception. You know? So yeah.
Just
Yeah.
tapping into that.
Yeah, no, for real, I like that. And you know, speaking on changing perception, somebody was talking to me about how they was using microdosing to change their perception. I think the perception, I'm sorry. And understanding like their views and seeing how things are different in their eyes. And you know, and then it also made me think about the Hangman card. But the one thing they were just like worried about was just like, you know, like using things for the right things and having the right type of mindset. And I'm like, if you have the attention, you know what I'm saying, and you know what you're trying to do with everything you're doing, it has a purpose. You know what spectrum you're going to be on when you write it within yourself about that. So they would just open it up. And I thought about the Hangman. You know, he's upside down hanging, but you know, to me, it's like seeing a different perspective, open yourself to a different light, different eye, you know, and also something spiritual, you know, diving ourselves in that spiritual realm, in that spiritual world, the spiritual literature, because that's what's going to help us.
Well, the crazy part is the card that I drew for today was Junon, you know, the high priestess. And in terms of the major arcana ordering of the cards, you know, the high priestess appears in a sequence as soon as the fool decides he wants to develop his innate powers. I'm going to say that again. The high priestess appears in a sequence as soon as the fool decides he wants to develop his innate powers, making a move towards becoming a magician. So that I think that's apropos for the question and what exactly it is that we're talking about here. Like, we get to a certain point in our lives where we realize everything that we learned was bullshit. And then once you tap into the knowledge and the information and you understand that you were actually born with certain rites of passage, right? Like you were born clairvoyant, you were born psychic, you were born able to hover and do all of these fantastical things. The only problem is that society has told you that shit only happens in movies, and that all you're supposed to do is just, you know, stay black and die, right? So I think when the fool decides he doesn't want to be a fool anymore, that's when the transition happens. You know, when the student is ready, that's when the teacher appears, just like the brother said earlier. And this knowledge and doing this work, you know, that sixth sense becomes so prevalent because you actually understand and start to find out that your sixth sense is stronger than your first five, all put together. And that's the scary part when you're starting to get into this knowledge, because now you're practicing and you have the ability to practice on these things. And before you know it, you can tell how a person feels before they even come in your presence. You can tell how or which way a particular event is going to occur, how it's going to occur, how it's going to unfold. You can tap into those different levels of consciousness, and knowing that you can tap into those different levels of consciousness, it's going to be hard for you to go backwards, right? It's going to be hard for you to go back to taste, see, smell, when, you know, you can just meditate and understand what somebody is saying about you, right? And you're not even in the room. So like, I think when the fool is done being a fool and he's ready to tap into who and what they actually are, I think that's exactly what we're talking about right here.
That's dope. I mean, that's a deep, because it's like innate powers, the powers that you come here with, And I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. I was reading about Carl Jung, and he was saying how we're born with this chaotic amalgamation of various past lives that just comes across as a baby crying and yelling and having no control over his faculties, only to develop an ego that is not aware of who you truly are. So you could be the best person from an ego point of view, but ultimately, if you don't deal with that chaos, level through that chaos, balance out that chaos, then it's almost hard for you to understand who you are at a spiritual perspective, from a spiritual point of view. And back to the work side of it, because like I said, chapter 5 of the mastermind is dealing directly with the work, the things that you need to do to cultivate a mastermind. And it's not ever, it sounds easy when we lay it out, but the application of it is never easy. Being present, being mentally clear, also being self-disciplined in the work in reference to what's going on in the world, what's going on in our lives. So with all of that being said, what is some tools or some tips and tricks that you guys use to stay disciplined outside of sense consciousness? Because in order to be spiritual conscious, you have to like differentiate between sense and spirit, and that's not easy. If you think it's easy, you're probably fooling yourself. But in reference to this, how what are some things that y'all do that haven't been said before that keep y'all disciplined, that keep y'all on the path?
For me, is reading the Bible, reading Psalms, reading the Psalms, the Torah, and the Gospel. It just helps me remember the hierarchy that is the Most High, my soul, and then my ego, for lack of better words, and it just helps me keep stuff in that order. And it reminds me of like, what is the role of the ego? What is the role of the soul? Um, and it's a subtle thing, just like you were saying, Hood. It's real easy to get the things mixed up. Um, but this just helps me. It just really helps me just stay centered. Um, a mentor had called the Bible an alchemical cookbook. And it just reminds me of like, this is an alchemical process of Jabri being in this time, in this moment. It's something that I'm learning, and to really learn that lesson is just keeping stuff in alignment, keeping stuff divinely aligned. Because it could be aligned, but that don't mean that it's divine. Um, so yeah, I would say that, and then anything else like studying mythology, a lot of those stories and mythology helps me um, reflect on the soul, reflect on the spirit. And that usually helps me.
Yeah, I would say observance and things I'm not invested in. So my number one go-to is always going to be get away from all devices. But sometimes that's not that simply done if you're, in the presence of other people, or like I work a lot, my 9 to 5, or you have a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes you don't have the ability to get away from devices. So I would say the participation in anything that doesn't have my investment, my personal investment in it, at being able to observe without reaction. Um, and also, my go-to is something super freaking random, something that I hadn't, thought about or done in a very long time, if ever. Go and do that thing and put myself completely into that thing, whether it's um, rafting on the lake, uh, jumping in a random pond, like, you know, anything that can take my mind off of the regular mundane atrocities of the day, you know, that thing right there will completely recenter me and reground me. But 9 times out of 10, I'm getting away from all devices, and anything that, like I said, I participate in, I'm not invested in personally. I just won't.
I felt that, and my thing is like when I realized that, you know, I can change the aspect of my being with a thought alone makes me really like focus in because that really determines my future. I never realized how much my elders and the older people around me always try to let me know that my mental and my thoughts alone really plays a real importance in my life. I've seen the greatest men do fantastic things, but I have seen them fall just because when their mental straight has failed them or their mind has been attacked. It's been so many things where people have fallen because their mental is not strong. So, being in this mastermind group and really thinking about that, you know, is this going to strengthen me? Is this really helping my mind grow? And sometimes we have to really focus on that because we're always going to have our vices. We're always going to have things. But it's like Bree said, it's really learning like you got to put a hold on things, have a focus. So it's just like being in that space alone, realizing every thought can change the being of my body. I really focus in on that.
Dope, man. Make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, make sure you join the Discord. Join the Discord. Approaching 200 members. So we appreciate y'all for tapping in. And we're going to grow this thing to 1,000 by the end of 2024. But with all of that being said, like I'm saying, we're referencing The Mastermind by Theron Q. Demont. If you want a free PDF of the book, please click the link in the description so y'all can keep up with us. Next week, we'll be looking at chapter 6. But in this chapter, he's given some practical exercises to bring you into focus, right? That what is focus doing? It's eliminating sense consciousness. So sense consciousness is everything you experiencing, everything you thinking, everything you know about the external world represents sense consciousness. And the reality of that is that it is very, very limited. So in order to tap into a level of expansion, you don't find it externally. You find it through repetition, focus, awareness, and understanding. So he listed some practical exercises such as sensory meditation, where whatever is happening, it just becomes a blur, right? You don't fixate on one thing or certain things. Brother Panic, where we had an intro video to him earlier, stated, not in the video, but in one YouTube video, that's actually what I was looking for. He said he was on the train every day and he would meditate to the sounds of the train. So it's not always about quietness. However, it can be, because even a complete silent meditation would be better than just a regular meditation. But just accepting all of the senses, not even closing your eyes, just open your eyes and just let everything be, is a way to tap in. Mindful observation. A good book would be Mindfulness for Beginners or something to that effect, is by John Kabat-Zinn. But just being mindful, and what that means is just utilizing the 5 senses of your mind. You can see in your mind, feel in your mind, move in your mind, do all of these particular things without moving a muscle. Developing this, observing this, being aware of this will allow you to focus. And finally, he listed sensory deprivation. My friend, he have a whole place with all of the tanks, all of the different things that, bring you into these certain states of minds, meaning that it's probably a place you can Google sensory deprivation tanks near me on the internet and find one near you and maybe that will help you into focusing into your spiritual development and who you are at a spiritual level. These are just some practical exercises, but I know the guys on the panel have things outside of Theron Q Demont, and I'm sure y'all out there have things outside of Theron Q Demont. But at the end of the day, just knowing the exercises is not going to save you. Applying the exercises will. So, with all of that being said, fellas, what are some practical exercises that you could give to the family or the tribe or the collective to help them be more focused in their spiritual development and meditative practices?
Blindfold, sit still, and keep your eyes wide open. Again, blindfold, sit still, and still keep your eyes wide open under the blindfold. It'll teach you to incorporate all sounds. It'll teach you to incorporate all sensory feeling on the skin. It'll teach you to be patient and be completely aware of your environment. Also, take the blindfold off and stare at a particular point, and stare at that point as long as you can possibly stare at it without blinking. And if you blink, you start all over again. See how far you can go. See how far you can stare at a thing without losing your focus. That's just two to start.
Exercise you can start off with, as I like to do, is you can either do vision quest or you can go hiking and give yourself a quest through that, you know. And I like to have fun and well, not fun, but I have fun hiking, of course. But what I'm saying is that I will microdose too. I'll take no phone, only for contact, no music, and I'll go out there and I will have a focus on my mind and heart, and I'll meditate before I go walk, and I'll do it in hour, 30 minutes. You can go longer, but that's the limit. And once you come back, journal. I'll do that. I love to do that. Especially if you go to the mountains or heavy forest area, heavy mountain, river lakes.
I almost forgot cold water. See how long you can sit in cold water.
Yeah, that cold plunge, boy. That'll bring the fear out of you.
Cold shower, you might be afraid to do it.
Hey, cold
That's what
shower.
I'm saying,
That third
man.
eye.
That's what I'm saying. That'll bring the fear out your ass. The one that I would say is kind of what I spoke about in the beginning of the video was that conscious breathing, the conscious connected breathing, and merging the inhale with the exhale, but getting to the point where the inhale turns into the exhale, and doing it early in the morning. Like if you wake up at like 4 in the morning, I don't care if you got to be at work at 9. Just get up, get in the shower, and just sit in front of a flame and stare into that flame and focus on breathing and just do it. Just keep on doing it because it'll help you get into a deeper meditation. I found that early in the morning, the mind is very impressionable. And I remember just thinking like, well, if I get up in the morning to go to work and that's where my mind is the freshest, why don't I do something before work that's for me before I give my energy to my job, So, and that's just a way of me putting myself first. And so that's what I do, but I got to be at work at 6 in the morning. So I get up at 4:15 and do all of this. And when I get to work, it's kind of like, I checked in with my ancestors, I checked in with my energy, and for the most part, the day fly by, but yeah, just search, do some YouTube searches, check out that book, Celebration of Breath, because it's all about connecting your breathing. Understand that you're breathing in prana, understand, or for other people, it's the ether or the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit. That's what the breath is. So God is always around, you know, and breathing is literally letting God flow through your vessel. Um, yeah, it can be a calming thing in any situation, and you can do your connected breathing anytime. You driving, you showering, you in conversation with somebody, you can just go ahead and the key is that the inhale is active like Sekhmet, and the exhale is passive like Bass.
Beautiful. I mean, these tips is useful if y'all able to listen and y'all on the spiritual path. And you know, if you utilize these things and consistent and develop, you'll get beyond that first level. And in reference to the levels of consciousness, understand that there are levels. You and commit in the comment in the chat, comment on the video. What stage are you at, and what steps are you taking to get to the next step? Me, I'm a beginner. No. I don't know, man. I would, you know, it's kind of like in reference to the type of ego that I do have. I don't ever want to be like at a level where I'm acting like I'm somewhere where I know I feel like I'm not, no matter how people look at me or whatever the case may be. Like I'm forever learning, and I still feel like a baby when it comes to this information because I'm still learning, I'm still developing, and it's all hitting me and it's all making different connections. So at this point of my life, you know, I might feel like I'm at the stage of a master. But what does that look like? And how do I show up at an integral point of view, like outside of YouTube or outside of writing a book or doing a Substack? What does my meditative process look like in reference to becoming a master? So I would say I'm right in between advanced and a master because I know I could tighten up when it comes to practice. But I know like once I turn my practice on, is going to change my reality. So, you know, the ego might be scared in reference to that, or, you know, might not be ready. But, you know, it's just all in learning what we have been talking about, implementing these things, getting up, meditating, journaling, practicing lucid dreamings, but doing things outside of sense consciousness to understand who we are as a spiritual being. So, in the comments, in the chat, what level are you at? What steps are you taking to get to the next level? And I'll also open that up to the initiates to answer that as well.
I would say that I'm like advanced intermediate, and I say that because I'm aware of the work that's before me. And I could say it's still fun for me. It's still enjoyable. I can still approach this without feeling like I know everything. I really enjoy trying to act like I don't know nothing so I could be aware of like some fundamentals, you know, like what we talking about. Like a lot of stuff is fundamental, you know, being able to focus your attention, understanding that the expansion of your perception is everything. You know, we talk about shadow a lot. Imagine having complete perception of your shadow. What kind of person would you be?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
your positive shadow, like the person that you're supposed to be, and you knew.
But understanding when it's growing, you know what I mean? Understanding where it's something that's trying to hide, you know, like your perception is just like, okay, I can deal with this right now.
I need to limit myself in this space. I can be an expanded version of myself in this space right now.
Perpetually.
Like, because I know where I'm going, because I have full awareness. So it's like It's not for nothing. It's not in vain. It seems that way if you don't do the work. However,
Hmm.
it all correlates to living in a better reality than you was in yesterday.
It's almost like, you know, the Fool card. I relate it to Pluto, and it starts out as a seed, you know, and you know, as you go through your spiritual journey, you're going from a seed or an acorn to an oak tree, you know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Stay fresh, have fun.
I would say for me, I started it a few years back, but I restarted it again because my ego wouldn't let me get to it. So, um, in the cycle knot, it says to tape a needle to the ceiling and focus your consciousness in on a needle to see if you can move the needle. So before I started it and I tried it and I gave up after like week 2. And that's only because I wasn't consistent with it and I never really believed that I could do it anyway. Right. But now it's just like, yeah, like you're gonna have to prove to me that I can't do it because so many other things that I've seen, there's no way that you're gonna tell me that I can't do this with my mind. Until it's proven that I can't do it, I'm gonna keep trying until I can do it. Um, but also the concept of practicing um, arguing other people's points, I think is awesome because how many times do we go into what it is that we think that we know, and how often do we decide we're going to challenge that thing? So I feel like we do ourselves a disservice if we don't challenge what we think we know or what we think we believe every so often. So like my whole thing is I want to argue the arguments that I don't like. So that's where I'm at with that.
That's what I do online. If I hop on a panel and I see a bunch of people ganging up on people, I
Hmm.
don't care one way or another. I'll just choose the argument that has got the underdog
Hmm.
and think it out. Just go through the whole thought process, even though I don't believe it. But I just feel like if you don't strengthen that muscle, you become cognitive
Redundant.
bias,
Sort of like
cognitive
redundant,
bias,
right?
echo chamber.
Yeah.
Don't want to really advance for real. Just want to get your booty rubbed. And at the end of the day, that's what the spiritual community will reduce itself to, a bunch of feel good stuff. But at the end of the day, what steps are you personally taking to understand who you are? Right. And where are you on that? Because a lot of times, if you haven't meditated, you don't know who you are because you're dealing with the five senses. And the five senses have nothing to do with who you are. So any level of expansion that you see comes from being able to go deep within yourself and pull the truth out and then show it in reality. This is who I am, and this is what I'm going to prove to you based upon self-development. And that's ugly. It's gruesome. It's hard. It's difficult. It's boring. It's none of the booty rub words that love and like shit. You might have to burn some sulfur, right? You might have to burn some rue. It's a lot of different things that spirit is going to tell you in reference to doing cleanup work or banishing work that don't have anything to do with love and light. So advancement is tough and it's not easy. And it's okay to say, man, I'm a beginner. I don't even know who I am. What are the steps? We laid out 8 books, more than 8 books if you listen to the video, gave out techniques, got a free PDF in the comment in the description. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like the reason why is because I can't do it for you, Serpent can't do it for you, Jabri can't do it for you, AD can't do it for you. Having a conversation, giving you the material, people like Panic, brother Bobby Hemmett, this is what they did for us. Even though we didn't read the books, they for sure gave us the books to read and do our due diligence and grow. Maybe we couldn't afford the books. That's why we in this new age, you can download free PDFs. So with all of that being said, what work are you willing to do to grow and advance in reference into who you truly are and developing your mastermind, not your slave mind, connected to the ego?
Yeah, man. If you comfortable, then you probably not getting too much work done.
Yeah, if your booty getting rubbed and you feel good about everything that's going on as far as who you are and what you come here to do, it should scare you a little bit. It should get
Hmm.
you off your ass a little bit. It should make you think like I can't be in this place that I'm at forever. I gotta figure something out. And
Hmm.
with all that being said, where are you gonna go to for help? I promise you some candles, some meditation, some journaling, some subconscious mind programming. All of these particular things that we laid out are things that we have utilized in our spiritual war against ignorance, right? And so, with all this being said, we've been giving y'all 2 hours worth of information, and we don't want to overload or overwhelm the public. Just want to give out some closing messages where people can find you, just more or less of just anything you want to add to the conversation before we get out of here. And once again, join the Discord, join the mastermind group. It's been helping me tremendously be accountable and grow myself from an inward journey to an external reality. So if you're looking for breakthroughs, and know it might not seem like much, but please join the Discord, join the mastermind group, have conversations outside of yourself, receive feedback, and just be direct.
Yeah, I would have to say that my intrinsic values have heightened, and my extrinsic values they're almost non-existent. You know, every day is about the collective and what we can do to bring the collective forth. Every day is about maintaining and sustaining the flame. Um, the importance of it, the importance of the work that we're trying to put forth to the people, the importance of helping each and every single one of these brothers as well as myself get our individual projects done. Um, yeah, Sacred Serpent, Sacred Dark Serpent. The collective is what I'm about. Um, I am very, very grateful for the space, the time. Like I said, Ashe to your ancestors, known and unknown, but also join the Discord, join the Discord, join the Discord. Um, we got products for everything. And if you got a product you want to bring to the forefront, just let us know. You need some help getting that thing off the ground. Cooperation is better than competition. So put yourself out there. Maybe you get what you need back. Ashe.
Ashe, man. Ashe, that was tough. But also, when y'all join that Discord, introduce yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Let us know who y'all is. You know what I'm saying? Don't come in there with your hood on. Come in with your mask off. Mask off. You know what I'm saying? But thank you for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Comment. Let us know your favorite part about the video. And when you join that Discord, let us know what's up. Check us out at flameon.shop. And get at me at AD_senpai. And get at me at grappling with AD. Check out all my content and my upcoming tournaments. And also my upcoming videos for YouTube. Much love to y'all. And please, White Rabbit Psychedelics. Be ready to change your perception and perspective.
So my workbook, Moon Day, A Practical Approach to Astrology, will be available for the masterminds this week. And by the end of, this upcoming week for the Discord. And of course, the initiates is going to get the rough drafts to make sure everything is copacetic. And yeah, man, any type of project you got, you know, it's very helpful, you know, the community that's in the Discord just to keep stuff rolling. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we in a day and age where we got a lot going on, you know, and it's important to just being able to at least, you know, invest 30 minutes into whatever your goal is. Some days you might have 2 hours, but it's about that momentum, keeping it going, keeping it rolling. So yeah, join the Discord.
Yes, sir, man. Hit me up on the Instagrams at thehoodmystic, hoodmystic.com. White Rabbit Psych, 25% off sale, goes all the way till Monday night. So if you want to tap in. Colombian Exchange, everything on there is 10% off. No promo code needed. Appreciate all y'all support. Watching this video, liking the video, sharing this video, subscribing to the channels, joining the Discord. All of that is great, and we appreciate you. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you do the work for your motherfucking self, right? Because we cannot do the work for you. We could just, you know, be in communities that inspire us to want to do the work for ourselves. Because if you're around a bunch of people doing the work, it's hard for you to not do the work, right? But if you're around a whole bunch of people that's drinking weed, and I said drinking weed, drinking liquor, smoking liquor, or I said smoking liquor. Listen, it's that
Hey.
I'm on that side.
Hey, no, it's some juice with THC in it out there, though.
Drinking weed. I know some CBD liquor up out there.
Somebody drinking weed somewhere.
Somebody drinking some weed. So if you want to really get around people that's doing this work, join the Discord. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. And with all of that being said, man, we will see y'all in the next video. Hopefully, or not hopefully, not working through hope. We have a scheduled Monday Lunar Conversations, episode 3, where we're going to be tackling the moon, where it's at in our charts, things of that nature, how it's showing up in real life. So join us, and be a part of the conversation by joining the Discord, and we will catch you all on the flip side. So with all that being said, peace. We'll see y'all in the next video.
Initiates for the flame. You are now programmed to drop dem draws. Have you been maintaining your flame?